Negotiation is a term widely used in everyday language. Yet various things, situations, and elements are evoked when we talk about this concept. Many everyday life situations can indeed be described as negotiations. At the top of the list, we find commercial and contractual situations. In this first category of situations, discussions generally revolve around the distribution of limited resources, and in the vast majority of the cases, deal with financial or economic matters. Differences in positions between negotiators are often perceived as incompatible because the desires and interests of one party appears to be fundamentally incompatible with the desires and interests of the other party. The boss cannot increase the salaries of all his employees indefinitely, but neither can the employees stagnate ad vitam aeternam with the same salary. The buyer of an apartment or house or car is not in a position to spend astronomical sums of money to acquire the property they covet. But the seller, on the other side, is rarely ready to give up the possessions for a symbolic euro or dollar. The second category of situations frequently observed involve the resolution of problems, diversions, and conflicts. Not a day goes by without the media mentioning major international negotiations aiming at bringing peace to the many parts of the world in which conflicts are raging. At a more macro level, negotiations are also used in the management of everyday conflicts, such as divorce or professional disputes. I imagine that many of you provided this type of answers in the first exercise of this course. And you are undoubtedly right. Here are many situations where negotiation can be used as a method of managing divergences. I say can be used because negotiating is not necessarily always the option that is chosen by divergent parties. A salesperson may decide to set a price that cannot be discussed, or a boss may ignore repeated requests for a raise from his employees. Nations at war may prefer to continue fighting rather than seek a peace treaty. Later on, we will come back to these alternative options that are sometimes preferred to negotiation. But before doing so, let us look at the third category of situations where negotiations are likely to occur. These situations are not necessarily rarer than the ones we found in the other two categories, but they are much less easily categorized and perceived as instances of negotiations. These are cooperative situations, contexts in which two or more parties decide to discuss not to solve a conflict or agree on a price, but with the aim of creating something new. Two professionals who are deciding to create a new company, for example. A professional team that is seeking to develop a new product. Or a couple of friends who are discussing their next vacation. The later situations are less easily identified as examples of negotiation, and few people, when questioned, spontaneously mention them. Why is this? Because in people's mind, negotiation is generally connotated negatively. It refers to the management of conflictual, oppositional, and competitive situations. However, what we will see through the weeks that we will spend together is that negotiation does not necessarily rhyme with competition. Cooperation is just as important to the development of optimal agreements as is the pursuit of personal gains and outcomes.